Okay.
E36 Unfiltered, aka the Unfiltered Room with Mr. E. Gray. Introducing all the latest names and the latest news. Hottest take, he the new face, yeah, the new sound, but keep it old school. And raw interviews from local athletes, and even digging off and entertainment too. Own style, he got his own lane, it's unfiltered out, we keep it raw, man. New content to keep the people ready. E36, no Jerome Bettis, real dialogue and real conversations. You keep it real, but we real. Mr. E. Gray in the building. E36 Unfiltered.
What's up, everybody? How you doing? It's your boy E. Gray from the E36 Unfiltered Live Podcast, guys. We are back once again with a great show, guys. I hope you guys are enjoying the intro. Got a new intro. Got some new things coming up on the horizon with the rebranding of E36 Unfiltered. So I'm very excited about that, which will be released. We have a grand release coming up very soon to kind of introduce everybody to this. Now, while we're on here, guys, don't forget, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. You see it scrolling across the bottom. So if you can't hear me or you get what I'm saying, you can look down below and see what we got going. Go ahead and subscribe to the page, YouTube page, E36 Unfiltered. All right. Now, enough of me rambling and going on about subscribing and all this stuff. Let's get to the meat of why we are here. I'm gonna start here because chivalry is not dead. So we're gonna introduce the lady getting started right here. It's going to be none other than actually one of my agents, Advantage Talent Agency in Nashville, Tennessee. Misty Griggs, the owner and CEO. Misty Griggs, how are you doing?
I am good. How are you doing this morning?
I am doing great, early rise. I'm not sure where you guys are at, but where I'm at is got some rain going. It's been raining for quite some time. Not upset about that because we need it with all this heat and drought that we have been having and all this mixed calculations about the weather report. It's like the whole week, you know what I'm saying? So, hey, I guess you got to get it right eventually. But anyway, glad to have you here. And then also right above, guys, you can see it's my man. I wish I became a good friend of in our recent movie, Castle Falls, that you guys can check it on Pluto. You can go on YouTube. You can see it at Amazon Prime. Castle Falls, starring Dolph Lundgren. He played the character Damien Glass, a phenomenal method actor. Just that man. Robert Berlin, how are you doing?
All right. Thanks a lot, E. Gray. That's a great introduction as always. I really appreciate that, and I'm glad to call you my friend too. So thanks for having me on your show.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So what we're gonna do here, guys, real quick, we're gonna make sure you guys go ahead and follow them. I'm going to get this in the plug right now. Make sure you guys go follow them. I don't want to put it down in here. So go follow Misty at Misty Griggs. This is her social media. All right, it's IG, and then also Advantage _Talent _Agency. Also is on her IG, and then Facebook, just Misty Griggs. Check that out, guys. And they will follow by my man below. Got his as well. Robert Berlin, guys, he's gonna have it at Robert G Berlin, and then on Facebook at Facebook on Robert Berlin. Make sure you guys step in. If I'm incorrect on that, I want to make sure I get that right. So if it's wrong, let me know. All right. Oh, I'm really good.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So what we're gonna talk about today is kind of breaking into the industry, man. One thing you guys have been. I highly respect each and every one of you guys that are on the platforms. Why you've been chosen to be on this platform along with me. I've been in active for, I almost forget sometime, like 7 years, a little bit more, maybe somewhere around that range. And I know Misty has been doing her thing with the Advantage Talent Agency and just been in the industry. I'm really interested to hear how long she actually been in the industry as a whole. Included, acting, everything, the whole nine. But she's a talent agency guy with Advantage Talent Agents, which is a phenomenal acting agency, talent agency altogether. So she deals with the side of finding and locating talent and booking talent and things of that nature. And then you got a Robert, who is actually also a talent himself, as an actor in the game and everything, and knowing how these things merge together and how you even get into the field and what it takes to sustain success in this field. Okay. And I'd like to also talk about not just sustaining success, but what success looks like, the different facets of success. Because a lot of times we think success has to be being the next big movie star, the best next big movie, the big talent agency got all the talent. Not really. It's so many different facets of that. So we kind of want to dive into that. We're gonna get started talking with you, Misty. Kind of break us down for you as Advantage Talent. How long you guys been going on with Advantage Talent Agency, and what kind of sparked. I also want to know what sparked the name in general. So kind of take it away.
Well, I actually didn't start the name. So,
Okay.
but my story, actually, I started as a model with Advantage when I was 12.
No.
And so that was many years ago. Um, but my story started because my dad did not want me to cake makeup on my face like other kids my age. So he sent me
Mhm.
to Advantage, which started as a modeling school. And because the market was just so different. Here in Nashville, there was a lot more print work and a bunch of things of that nature. And
Mhm.
you couldn't speak on camera because everybody had Southern accents, and those were really bad way back when. And so everything was improv based or print based that was here. And so I started with modeling and did that for a few years, and then I went
Mhm.
to the University of Alabama and started their theater program
Fantastic.
there, and fell in love with the theater and fell in love with the acting side of it, and so I kind of continued. And when I went back to Nashville from Alabama, I got re-involved with Advantage, and things had kind of changed, and we were doing a lot more
Mhm.
acting and stuff like that in the area, not to the extent that we are now, but it
Yes.
was
Yes.
it was better. It was better. We
Mhm.
had more opportunity, and
Yes.
uh, I was continuing. I actually had set up to move to New York for acting. I had representation set up there, and my mother was like, "But what are you going to do about a job? And what are you going to do this? And what are you going to do about that?" And I was like, "I'm going to go up there. I'm going to ask what's the big deal?" But she finally got it in my head, and so I kind of stayed, and I started working at the agency as well, and
Mhm.
finally had all the T's crossed, the I's dotted, everything ready to go, and I found out I was pregnant. So I decided that being a single mom in New York was not going to be my best opportunity, and
Uh-huh.
trying to act, and so I stayed, and then bought the agency 12 years ago.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So now with that being said, you started working back at the agency. You started as a director of the booking, correct? In like 99, what
No, I started just
2000
as
something?
a secretary, just,
Wow. Okay.
basically answering phones and doing that. And then I started actually working on helping to train people. And I
Hmm.
spent years sending models all over the world, from Asia to Australia to London,
Yes.
Milan, all over the United States, and then transitioned over into the acting side.
Wow, wow, wow. And you know what? So that is amazing because you look at it, I'm saying 2010 basically marked the time when you officially became the owner.
Yes.
Actually July of 2010, according to the information out there.
Yes.
So you burst into the scene with that. Now, when did it hit you that you know what? I want to, and how did you end up just being, being able to transition into a position that's been taking on the ownership of it through that journey? And how did you know, like, man, okay, I want to do this. This is it. This is what I want to do.
Well, when you start, when you get involved in acting, either you get involved or it doesn't hit, and it hit,
Mm,
and I loved it, and it was just what it is. And it was kind of at a point I didn't feel as though I should take the chance to do the acting for myself, since I
mm,
was raising a child by myself, and I mean, I have tons of family here, so without
mhm,
them,
mhm.
I'd have been totally messed up. But I had
Yes.
all my family here and their support, and wanted to stay in it, but didn't feel that being the actor was like my my path anymore, but I
Yes.
wanted to help others achieve their goals and their desires. And so I continued. And so when the opportunity came up that Nisi asked if I wanted to buy Advantage, I told her that I wanted the agency, but I had no desire for the
Mhm.
sport. And so I transitioned completely away from the modeling side.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. So, and when you think about that, man, that is and you can tell it when we talk, when we discuss, you're always so upbeat. You always, but you also have that thin line of like, hey, this is where we at. This is where we want to be. This is where we're not. And you keep that upbeat, but you also stay very encouraging throughout the process. Hey, we're gonna keep on plucking. We're gonna keep on going because you know how I can get. You know how they can go. I'm like, come on, what is going on? And you really have that heart, that servitude of heart to be able to that servitude heart and being to push others and encourage others and being a voice of reasoning with a lot of different things when it comes into this industry, which is very crazy and fickle sometimes. And so having that on your side is very, very, very beneficial. Now I want to leave Robert Ox. I'm gonna jump him in just a second, but I go in here to go back to something throwback. Do you remember your first signed artist that you can remember as an owner? And how did you go about that discovery for that particular individual? Because you want to have that first one to be there, boom, as best you can to set the mark for you. Take your
No,
time. Yes, take
no idea.
Gotcha. So okay, okay, Betty, let's go. I know that's I throwing out there for you. What about some different trademarks that you even to this day you look at, or how you would say that you have evolved your eye for talent and what you feel that you need to fill out your roster, because that's very important. People need to know that, like, it's there are not just one set type. How the market is evolving and changing, you have to have a diverse roster of talent, age, ethnicity, size, everything, accent, all that good stuff.
Oh yeah.
How do you manage that? What kind of team do you have to manage that?
What kind of team? Um, Me. Uh, I've had some interns over the years. My favorite and best intern that I've had was a guy named J.W. Miller, and
Okay.
he was he was phenomenal. We still talk all the time. He works up in New York. He lives up in New York. Um, but he was great at actually getting out there and helping me find talent and making me see
Mhm.
things a little differently.
I like
Uh,
that. I like that.
yeah, I mean, he was a student at Belmont and
Okay.
in the theater department, but he would go through all the submissions, and he had probably one of the most interesting eyes when it came to finding talent, and he still does. He sends me people still.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool. So, Robert, let's jump into you real quick. Let's get onto the acting side for you. Let's talk about your quick introduction into the industry as a whole, and then also, like I said, this is a big important part as we transition to how, when you're ready. When did you connect with your first talent agency, and the value that you end up finding in that?
For me, my story goes. It basically I started in sports, and I always had a dream to be an actor.
Hmm.
And when I was young, I grew up with 5 girls. I had cousins and two sisters, and we're all around the same age. And I played football, I played baseball. They did theater arts, they did dance, and I always dreamed of doing that. But I
Yes.
never knew how to express that. And I was very good at football, very good at baseball, and I enjoyed it. But when they would be on stage and doing their performances, I would always dream that the spotlight would come on me, and I'd run on stage, and everybody would cheer, and I would be able to perform.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I realized through sports, I was always performing. And when I realized I wasn't going to be as good as you and Eric, going to
Nah.
Alabama and play football or the NFL or anything like
Bless
that, I
you.
realized I needed to find a passion. And luckily, I grew up with my grandmother, and my grandmother and my grandfather were very supportive of me. They helped me to find my dream. And my grandmother, she told me I had a soul of an artist, and she helped me to go to New York, and she helped me to find acting classes. And so I went to Stella Adler Conservatory, saved up all my money and studied. And I was living on the floor in New York and paying $500 with an older gentleman, and we had one of these dividers in the room, and I literally slept on the floor, and I had
The
one
divider,
contact lens.
love it.
Yeah, little divider, and my contact lens had fallen out, and I had one lens, and I had to pay for classes and things, and wasn't eating right, but I always knew I had that support of family. They weren't going to maybe let me fall, my grandmother and grandfather, but I learned, to hustle. And so I really took it seriously when I studied. And I always recommend to actors, really take your craft seriously. It's the only thing you have. You were talking about success earlier, and success being measured can't always be, did you get the job, or am I famous, or did I win an Oscar, things like this. It has to be your passion in your craft, and if you're achieving that, and if the roles that you're going after, are you bringing those roles to life? And that's, for me, anytime I get a script and anytime I get to work on a piece of material, and I feel like I'm always discovering different parts of that character, it always excites me, and to me, that's success.
Yes.
And Misty, you had a really good story. I just want to thank you too, because we need people in our corner, to support us as actors, because you put yourself out there. You're constantly, you know how it is now with the 24/7. It's constantly casting.
Yes.
There's lots of breakdowns. There's so much shooting. It's I believe, the most difficult time to be an actor, because you're not meeting casting directors as much anymore. You're self-taping, and those self-tapes come, the morning, and you have to shoot them by the night, and you're memorizing constantly. You have 4 different auditions, 5 different auditions. You're changing your look. You're changing your type. You really have to know who you are as an actor and go after that. And that's what I do. With a face like this, I play bad guys, obviously. You have the bald head, and you have the kind of the face only a mother could love type thing. And, for me, I just...
Classic. That was a classic. I'm taking that one.
And you got to own that. And I had a great experience to study with a man named Tony Greco, and Tony Greco taught Philip Seymour Hoffman and David Harbour, and my wife was in that class, and we did our first play together, and she brought me to that class, and there were a lot of professional actors in that class, and he always said to us, we could all be in the room together no matter where your careers were, if everybody was taking their own step. So for me, I always tell actors, take your step. Wherever you are in the business, take your step, learn more, read a book, study, work on your voice, work on your look, work on how you think the character goes after different things, how he eats, how he talks, things like this. So I'm a real craftsman in what I do, and I always encourage that to other actors. In terms of my agent, I studied a lot, and I went out and I did a lot of short films and student films, and I just submitted everywhere I could to agencies, even the big agencies. And obviously I didn't get a response to the big agencies, because you got to know where you are and where you fit in the business. And at that time, I had to work my way up. So I was lucky enough to be picked up by a few people in New York, and they helped me along my way. And from there, I would freelance, and then, keep moving on until my goal is always to work with an individual who believes in me and understands me and what I do. I'm not just somebody, for me, who's just going to stand there and say lines. I like to go underneath the lines and bring a lot of behavior and work on givens of the script. So I like to work with people that understand the type of work that I do, as a method actor, as opposed to just them, it's like any relationship. We both have to understand each other in order for it to work. So I recommend actors find people that understand them, and they understand what that agent does as well. Because like you said, Misty, you didn't want to submit models, or you wanted to just work with talent. So different agencies have different, they have commercial, they have, talent. You have to find the agency that works with you, fits for you as well.
I love it. Man, that is a great response. Great insight and information you gave, because I think that's very important for them, really, for a lot of the actors that's coming up and trying to get an agent, to understand what that means, what that looks like, what they need to look for, what they need to value in. And one thing I caught from what you said is really you understood the value before you did. You understood the value of who you were as a person, as an actor, where you want to see your projection of your career moving and going. And I think when you can do that, and I think Missy can attest to that, is it makes it a lot easier for an agent to be able to say, okay, I want to sign this actor. I don't have to put in so much. Not that the agent don't want to put the work in, but like I don't have to go surfing. They know what they want, and I can match it up with them. Be like, oh, you know what? I agree with that, or I agree with that, but let's try to look at this route as well. So it kind of really makes a lot more of a ready situation to be able to put together and work better, because now you're presenting to the table exactly what your expectations are, what you want out of this agency, and then she, of course, like I said, she can just bring that together. So I think that is a beautiful thing and great information to know, and something that even myself early on that I value out of my training with Hollywood Huntsville and things of that nature, that they made sure we did that, understood our type, understood where we wanted to go, who we saw ourselves as. Even did I can't even remember who was my prototype, but I had that allowed us to, and had us to pick our prototype to what we see would be our character fits, that's in the industry now, and kind of see, okay, this is kind of the direction where we can see where you probably would get projected at is much more when it comes to submittals from agencies and things of that nature. Or this is what they kind of see when they see you, and sometimes they'd be head on, sometimes it'd kind of be a little bit off, but they would allow our classmates to actually do that. And then, of course, we would do ourselves as well. So it was a good thing. And I think that it really helped propel and to help us be able to present in a quality way, so that the agent didn't feel like, well, they just come out the blue. What is this? Okay. Oh, wow. So anyway, that's a great thing. Now I want to kind of talk about something and backtrack to something that Missy has said early on. And I think that I don't like to just talk about, y'all talking about the information and the journey, but being selfless. And one thing you said, I saw that, and you was realistic. You said, I saw, trying to be a single mother, trying to raise a child up in New York. Yeah, not what I want to do. Let's bring it down south here, back to family, more support and things of that nature. But then also, you were like, I just got to the point where like I didn't see me trying to be acting and trying to carry it on and be a single parent mom was what I needed to be doing, or was going to be most feasible. So just that side from you putting down somewhat, moving to another level of your goals, and kind of looking at what your child needed for that time. But also, man, in addition to that, there's not that many people in the world that understands, okay, it didn't work out for me, but I still want to be involved in this and go to another level. It's like I'm similar to a player getting hurt, injured, out of nowhere, like a guy named Tyron Protos. We came into class together, and he had the horrendous injury against Florida, snapped his ankle in half, ended his career. Guy was going to go to the league and everything, fourth in Heisman at that time when the injury took place, and it completely derailed and, cut out his career. But now he has gotten back into, he's in high school coaching now, but even when he was sometime at Alabama doing GA for a little bit, he was, was taking on ins and out different jobs to be able to give back to what he could do and contribute to the game. And I say that for you. Was it difficult for you? Because we never know. We see how these transitions take place, but was it somewhat difficult for you and like tough to have to let your dream go as being in front of the camera or being in the model and transitioning to behind the scenes and helping others talent out? What was that transition like for you mentally and emotionally to come to that realization?
That's a good question. I'm not going to say it was easy, but at the same time, it was just, it's kind of like, you knew that it's just what had to happen. Now, don't get me wrong. There are times when I'm a little jealous of my talent.
Yeah, real.
One of my guys, I think beginning of last year, it was like around February or March, he spent like 3 weeks in Savannah, Georgia. They kept pushing his shoot date back, and they just kept him.
Wow.
And so
Nice.
he was sending me pictures of him at the beach. And it was like,
yeah, it's like,
not at all, because it was still snowing here. So it was like,
oh, wow. Yes.
I'm not liking you right now.
You know what? I'm trying to tell you, and that's real, man, because I know me, like when my career had to come to an end, when I got to the point where just injuries was piling up too much, my body just could not sustain it. I remember playing in Chicago, and And it was just a game where after we was playing, going to Green Bay, play up there, and I came off injury with my quad. Then I was trying to tore my hamstring. Then that got back right. Then my groin on the opposite side started messing up. I got that healthy. Then my hamstring went back to messing up. And my doctor's like, look, it's soft tissue injuries. It just piling up on you, yada, yada, yada. And I saw the end coming. But when I tell you, it was so difficult. Even when I had to say, hey, I'm done, I'm released, go and release me, yada, yada, yada. Just knowing that I get a chance to make to that pinnacle of what I really wanted to. And I saw my goal and I saw it being so close. It was almost like it was snatched away from me prematurely before I was ready to emotionally. I let it take place, even though mentally I knew this was it. Driving home, and that's something that I went back to the game a few years later to get into coaching, but I just couldn't stay with it. I couldn't manage it. I just like, it would be small things that I would like, seeing players doing, not taking advantage of this, taking things for granted. I'm like, you boy, you know what? Hold on, I'm gonna slap you. Let me leave up out of here. Let me go. It got too tough for me, man. And then, of course, luckily, I was able to find this passion in that process. Actually, that's kind of what transitioned me out of this. Like, you know what? I'm okay with leaving because this is what I want to be doing. I love this. I love had the opportunity to kind of open doors up for that. Not to get into that story, but that's why I commend you. That's why I want to ask that question, because that's not easy transitioning. And even if you're staying in the field, but just in a different capacity, that can still be a challenge emotionally and things like that. So it's always a real question to ask: how was that managed? How did you do that? How did you get that going? So that was my question for you. And I kind of go back to Robert. You had said something. You're talking about different how you get into the underbelly of your character every single time and things of that nature. I think a big struggle that I see. I know that I struggle with it from time to time. I have to remind myself, and then I'm sure actors in general, is that you always feel like you when you get those, like, you guys do a phenomenal job of getting this work, and sometimes we can get this close or that close, or in last draw, you're like, oh, I could be a recurring actor, character on this film, and boom, either eliminate the character or you just go a different direction. Robert, for you, like, I'm sure with the talent level and skill set you have, you done had quite a few of those in your time here and there. How have you managed? How do you manage those rough patches, those areas, to be able to not soak in it for too long, or maybe sometimes not soak in it at all? It's kind of like, whatever, yeah, keep moving.
It's like anything else. It's a muscle you have to work. Emotionally, it's a muscle you have to learn how to move past. Mm-hmm. You're always going to have that kind of excitement if you're really excited and passionate about acting, and you there's a job right there, and you're mm-hmm. up for it. And then when you don't hear back, because they really never tell you didn't get the job. It's just, you're sitting here in character,
I had to learn it the hard way.
Face and, waiting around. And I'm like, are they ever going to call me? Or, 2 weeks goes by and you figure, well, I guess I didn't get that job. I had one last week. I had met with the producers and the director, and it was a big film and really good role. And a friend of mine got it. And I was very happy that he got it, because he's a friend of mine. He's a very good actor, but he looked more like the character that they were looking for as well. So I had to audition for one part, and they offered me, hey, why don't you try this role? And to me, it was something that you have to move past quickly, because then I had another audition to go. But what I work on is I always work on playing the characters. I never look at if I get the job or not. The self-tape for me is playing the characters, and I've had a lot of success that way, because I'm always playing the guy. Yes. And so I'm always learning through that. Like, you see athletes, you see LeBron James shooting free throws. You see him shooting three-pointers, things like this in practice. You see Steph Curry, before he plays, he's always dribbling the ball and always playing. That's his craft. So I live there. I live in that, where I'm always doing my best to get better. I never look at what's ahead of me as much. And like I said, that's a muscle. You really have to work on that. Early on, I wasn't as good as that at that. But now I really just pour into my characters. So when there's an audition, I go right in. And that's me playing the role. And there's not many times now where I feel like I've left something, that I could have done better. I always look at my tapes and see what I can do better for next time.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
my wife thinks it's a little too much sometimes. She's like, you know, you have to get in and do the tape
Get
and
in,
do
get
it,
out.
you know, and she's the one reading with me and hitting the play button and stuff. So
Yes. Yes.
I have to listen to her, you know. But for me, I go real deep in what I do. So for me, that kind of obsession, if you will, takes over. So it's not really did I get the role or not. It's kind of what can I do better next to play him. And I recommend that for actors. Really
Mm.
focus on your character and what you're auditioning for, as opposed to if you get the job or not. You don't have control over that. Like I said, my friend, he's a great actor, and he I'm sure he did a really good job, and he also looked more like the guy to me. So I would have
Mm-hmm.
cast him too. So
Yes.
you don't have
Yes.
control over those type of things, you know?
Yes. Realization, you know, that being, and for me, that to me, hearing that that's a level of a season, more of a seasoned veteran in the game and understanding the different levels and dynamics of how you can always get better, just small things here and there to be able to get in better and improving. Because one thing I had to learn as well, like I said, and I see hearing that from you, is that you have different ways you can be able to improve. You look at the film, okay, what I could have done better? What could I have tweaked a little bit of this? Could I have dove in more into this character? Was it what could I have had better pronunciation? Could I have had better uh, body mannerisms, different transitions, small things that you can always learn and critique yourself throughout that process. Now, of course, a lot of times you hear this, we're going to be the worst critics of ourselves, which can be good and bad, you know. But it's a just the enjoyment. What I start to learn is the enjoyment of the process of just getting in. That's another thing I want to point out. Just getting an audition in this day and time. Because one thing you pointed out, you said now these things are self-tape. You know, you don't get a chance to meet the casting director. You don't have to. Though I remember early on where if you wanted to audition, they may send out 200 different auditions for this character, one character, but they put it in this location. Only probably not even half are going to show up to make the drive, where they can get off working time to get there, or just have the means, or just to want to be like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and drive there, or can deal with the anxiety of walking into a room, the casting director, this assistant, this and that, producing everything in there. So that kind of in the past has eliminated half of the competition right there alone. Where now you have self-tape where they just send it out there and everybody can be in the comfort of their own home and be able to, that's a pro and a con as well, depending on how you look at it, where they can now just boom, submit and get the audition. Now, from a standpoint of, you know, now you don't have to be traveling all over the place to be able to get the auditions and things. You can be able to, and it gives more opportunity for the real talent to be able to be found, because now you can audition for 3-4 different things in a week and not have to go to 4 different locations at the same time. So, but I'm going to come back to what you're saying is that now the pool is bigger. It's so much bigger pool of talent out there. So just to be able to get your talent to submit, or whether you self-submit and that talent, I mean, that casting director say, I like his look, I like his reel, I like what his resume. Let me give him a shot. I think he can potentially fit this. That in itself is a blessing, and it's a win in itself. I got that from mine's truly, Mr. Greg told me down there. You know, I had with the rut. I'm like, man, this is crazy. I'm not getting past this and that or that and that. You know, and she was like, Eric, you gotta think about this. How many people even they don't even get this audition? You know, how many agents submitting their talent and not even getting a call back to even audition for that? So you're in the room, and I want my talent to know that just getting audition is nothing small in itself, because you're in the room and the pool is so major, so big now. So appreciate that aspect of it. And then another part, like I was getting to, was saying, like, understanding the small steps that it takes, and how you can build up on each audition and pull from this character, pull from that character to be able to make yourself more well-rounded, you know. And that's another beautiful thing. And now I'm gonna move down to Misty. When we talk about, now we've been talking about from how we do as a talent, or Robert talking about how he manages his audition from a talent standpoint, and how he pulls from different layers, and how he keep himself motivated throughout the process when it don't quite go with the end results that he wanted to. As an agent, how tough is it? How often you get a chance to actually be able to review the film and really give the feedback? And what is that process for you guys seeing in the film? Because I know sometimes you probably send me auditions back and be like, really? Oh my gosh. And at this point in time, yeah, and at this point in time, it's really not on the agent. It's more like, okay, I know that they have to be trained better than this. Why all this space and why this and all that, and these things like that. So kind of take it through the journey as you being an agent, because you go through the work to submit your talent there, and now you put it into their hands to give the audition back in a quality way that you feel good representing it.
Taped auditions have been fun. Now, of course, in the Southeast, we've been doing them for a lot longer than just COVID. Especially up here in Nashville with submitting down to Atlanta. And so many of the casting directors actually didn't even have offices in Atlanta. So it's been going on for a while, which was great for us when it came down to COVID, because most of our talent knew how to do it.
Yes, true.
And we were getting stuff from LA people and things like that. And we were like, nope, go back, do it again. Which helped. It helped the Southeast actors look better and helped get them some roles that might have gone to an LA person or a New York person because they're from LA or New York. But we got to show how to do it, which was great. But getting it from talent over the years and watching them, yes, sometimes we have lots of space, and in those cases, if it's something I can do where I can download it and crop it, I'll just go ahead and do it and help the talent move it along. And other times I'll look at a tape and it's just way off. You get the verticals and I'm like, did you read the instructions? It's bold. It's all caps. Do you know the difference between vertical and horizontal? And they're like, well, it looks vertical or horizontal on my phone. And I'm like, are you holding it the right way? Even casting directors were sending pictures of how to hold the phone, and people were still doing it wrong. I'm like, and you can't crop those, because when you crop in, it becomes all digital.
So
you can't fix those. So those have to go back and be like, you got to redo it, or it's not going to be sent.
Yes.
So there's those. And then my favorite are when people tape in front of a window.
Oh, wow.
Right. I'm like, did you watch it? Could you actually see yourself? I mean,
because the sunlight got to be killing that reflection, just killing
exactly. I'm like, yes, you need good lighting, but not standing in front with the window behind you. Turn the camera around, make it work for you a little better here. So there are things like that, and I try to review. Sometimes we don't have enough time,
Yes.
Like you said, you get the scripts in the morning, and you're taping that evening, and then I'm getting them, and I have to have them out, first thing in the morning, and I don't have time to review. I mean, other than the simple, okay, are they taped correctly? Does it look absolutely? I look for, don't have a lot of time, but I love watching them when I can, because I find out stuff about my talent being able to watch them, seeing their skills and stuff like that. I mean, Eric, you came in, met with me, and you've got the sports background, you've had the athletic side, you've got all that kind of stuff going on, but you're funny. Like,
thank you.
I mean, your tapes, I was like, wow, he's got some good comedy chops going on. You wouldn't know it.
No, my wife says all the time, like, hey, you're silly. Can you put that on film? You need to show that on this channel, on different social media. I'm like, no, babe, I'm not good on that. But when I get a chance, if I have to get a role with that, I actually embrace the crap out of it, because I'm silly like that. People just really don't know that. But carry on. I'm glad you saw that.
I'm like, we need to try for some more comedy stuff. But I think that's what helped get you that TVA spot.
Yeah. I can see that. I can see that now. Thank you. Yeah, yes. You know what? I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I was trying to remember if there was anything else I was going to say, but I'm not sure there was.
I take pride in it, because I've been trying to kind of bring out those when the opportunity presents itself, to bring out that silliness, those certain comedic chops and things like that. I remember going through the training of that, and like, you know what, I like that. I like the opportunity to be able to be silly like that. Another project that I worked on, got a chance to do that, and we barely missed it. I'm not even. I was so hurt about that. I'm still kind of hurt about that, but it's okay. I'm working on it, Robert. I'm working on just letting them go, Robert. I'm working on it.
Let it go. Let it go.
And this is like, that's how I just came across this again. I watched it, but it's over now. So it's Righteous Gemstone, right? That's a quirky, funny, witty type of show. I'm like, oh, I can be stupid on this. Yes. This is March of last year. I came back to look at it 2 days ago. And you remember that one? Got to the next level. I'm like, oh my goodness, But I kind of laugh because I was watching. I'm like, this is funny. I could have. Wow, okay, I could have really been a nut on this one. But anyway, that's kind of the process of what it. Like you said, it's a part of it. Sometimes it hits, sometimes it doesn't. How that goes. Now, I kind of want to segue into another level of this. Like you said, you've been able to talk about how you get a chance to enjoy some of your talent and being able to see what they're capable of, their capabilities, things you probably would not have seen from them or thought you would have seen out of your talent. Likewise, as you're aging yourself, the different opportunities that present itself, you had, Robert May, had the opportunity to be on, to me, one of the best, it's the best series of its kind for me, Power Book, Raising the Cane. And that experience from that, man, and I like to, because again, like you said, it's one thing to kind of talk about some of his things in the dumb. Sorry about the Abominable, Castle Falls, like I say, the Power Book. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Got to look at his IMDb Pro page. You can be able to see a list of things this great guy has done with his skill set, and so diverse in his ability to do these things. I even reached out to him a couple of times. Hey, look, I want you to look at this. I want you to review this for me, and with his schedule, he's like, oh man, okay, I got you. And he'll come back maybe a couple of weeks because that man be working and get it done and help you out. So I really appreciate that. But kind of go into your experience into Power, man, and how that kind of, can elevate you in an aspect of like, man, I'm on a stage with some very well-known guys and I'm holding my own. And how did that encourage you, even as an actor, gleaming from others that's on that level as well?
Well, Power Book 3, if anybody doesn't know, that's 50 Cent's show, and he's created a whole universe of work for actors and directors, and he's a really good guy. His story that he's doing, I mean, it's intense, it's gritty, and like you said, it's a really great show. And Power Book 3 is actually going to premiere August the 14th. I think it's like a Sunday coming up in, I think, about a month. And I should be in that episode. You never know. You never know how the editing goes or anything like that.
I know. We're gonna say it, you in there. We're gonna say you in there.
I'm hoping I'll be in it. It was directed by Mario Van Peebles, the legend. I got to work with Mario, and I played a dirty cop in that episode, and I got to work with one of the lead actors. And after we were done shooting, Mario had come up to me. Well, first, while we were shooting, we kept doing different takes, and he kept directing me to try something different, and then he said, I want to give you a take. He said, I love the job you've done. I want to give something for you. You do what you want to do in this scene. And that really was powerful for me, because I was, I love his work, and he's a legend. And for me to be on that set and be going hard with what I was doing, after we were done shooting, he pulled me aside and he said he hadn't seen that kind of intensity in an actor in a long, long time. And it comes from the self-taping, like we were talking about earlier, because the creator of this show, the writer also, Sasha Penn, he came up to me and he said he didn't know who was going to play the role. And he said when they saw the self-tape, they were like, wow, it's this guy. And I told him, I shot that in my bedroom with my wife. And he was like, what? He's like, you shot that in your bedroom? He thought I had like this studio. Basically, I'm just on the wall that I'm on right now. But what it's about getting better in your self-tapes. And like I was saying, not worried about if you get the job or not, but it's about what else you can do. And that made me better to where we are right now for me to get that job. All the jobs that I didn't get added up into that job. Yes. Because I did what I had to do. And whatever, the gods or whatever it is, sometimes they just want a bald guy and you get the job. You never know. So I always just do the best job I can. But when you're in that environment and you're working on these big sets and things, it's no different than when you are shooting in your
Yes.
living room or you are in class. The work never changes. So for me, that's where my focus always is the work. It's always about doing the best job I can, no matter what the project is, whether it's a big project or it's a small project, a student film. It's about you living up to the character, you know, and that character can't talk back to you. He can't say, that's not what I would do, or, you know, and you have to kind of
Yes.
try to live up to the standard of him. You have to treat them as a real human being and say, well, I'm honoring that individual and I'm going to play that individual to the best of my ability. And so that's what I always do. So when I do get to a big set like that, I mean, I had another great experience. I got to work with John Voight on a show called Ray Donovan. And
Yes.
I was in
Yes.
that room and he was so loose and he was so relaxed. And this guy's won Oscars. This guy is doing a phenomenal job at his age. And he's really, really nice man. And we were working together. And after we were done, we hugged each other because we had that same.
Wow.
When I
Love
went to
it.
Stella Adler, they had on the doors, they had, this is a sacred space. And whenever you entered that room, it was a sacred space. You took it as sacred. And that's the kind of thing that I do whenever I go to work. It's sacred for me. So when I'm across from somebody, I don't want that individual to fall. So whether I recognize them or they're somebody that I admire, or whether
Yes.
they're not, like when we work together, you know, you were my partner at that time and I wasn't going to let you fall. And I felt like you weren't going to let me fall. So we were able to
Absolutely.
be relaxed and explore and do these different things together that, you know, they edit the way they want to edit and stuff, but we were in the room and that's what we do, you know? And so that's kind of how I live. I mean, you know, I did Power. I've got something else coming out now. I just shot a Lifetime movie. I have a
Yeah.
really nice role, a supporting lead. I'm the bad guy in the show, and they're doing something different in the Lifetime show. It's got the romance and it's got that typical
Oh, it's gonna have
heart stuff,
that.
but it's got this really edgy kind of crime thriller aspect to
Yes.
this
Okay.
one. And it was produced by a man named Andrew Stevens, who was an actor and who's a very well-known producer. And he gave me a very good opportunity to be in this. And so that's going to be coming out very soon too. So I'm really looking forward to it. Look for Ajax. He's the one, you know, the bad guy with the bald
Yeah.
head. So
Okay.
I'll
I
be in
love
there.
it. I love it. I love it,
Yeah.
man. I got a couple of things going on, man. So I want to transition to something else as we kind of wind it down. We talk about the acting and we talk about representing to different talents and things of that nature, but you have to have a balance. Balance is very key for life and anything you do, you know, and that kind of help you just to be able to not only, I think acting makes you a better person, makes you a better actor, just observing people, different environments and things of that nature. Kind of what are some of the things you guys do outside of here? Because again, we know like, okay, acting is great, but some of the other things that you do that you feel that compliments you even as an actor in this industry and as a talent rep, it can be, I can imagine, I have seen people in my training. I'm a trainer, so I see people certain things they do or say and how they mannerisms they move that I can like, that is a quirky way of doing certain things, but it's very unique. We have a lot of engineers in my field, so they kind of do things slightly different. But you're like, oh, I can identify you're an engineer, right? How'd you know? Just people watching, and you understand and learn people mannerisms and everything. But for me, working out is a great stress reliever. It's something I do not only just I've grown up doing it all my life, and I value it because I'll do other things outside of just acting, and I just want to take care of myself, but it has benefits because once I look at it like, okay, I'm not necessarily spring chicken, so if I want to be able to do these certain roles in younger 20s, things of that nature, I have to someone to compete with these younger 20-year-olds. I got to look that part and stay that part because so it's always a motivation within itself. But in addition to that, as I said, you find different hobbies you love to do. Whether just going for a run or just hanging out or just Netflixing and chill or go listen to live music. I love music. Music. I got to be a vocal coach as well. I'll start at that, but that's a whole nother story for another day. I'm finding not finding, but I know other interests that I have that I enjoy doing that I feel like it's all about my arts and just expressing myself. So what are some of the things that you guys also find yourself doing to kind of get away from dealing with every day of the auditions or submitting your talent for auditions and things of that nature? Starting with you, Misty.
Oh, well, I don't ever get away from it anymore unless I just like turn off my phone or ignore life. That
Uh-huh.
when I started this, we still did fax machines and we didn't use email
Mm.
and we didn't have websites and Instagram. So it
Veteran.
definitely changed over the years, but I would say that my things outside of it have changed as well. I mean, like I said, I really delved into being the agent side and doing this when my daughter was born, and so a lot of my time outside of work was my daughter, and then
Mhm.
she is a very active individual. So, I think she was about 7 when she started ice skating, and
We talk about that.
We did ballet. We did gymnastics. Then came some rowing while we were still doing ice skating, and ice skating continued, and travel and competitions, and
Yes.
it was very time consuming. But when she was younger, we I had her running, and so we would go run together. Of course, she complained the whole time. Then she managed to trip me and twist my knee that has never healed correctly. So the running
Oh,
didn't.
man, got her.
She damaged me so that I would stop. But
Love it.
now she's older. She started college, and she'll be starting her second year in college, and so I have more free.
Wow, what? Wow.
I told you it's been a few years.
Wow.
Yes.
Um, so
God, time flew.
yeah, so she's gonna be starting her second year in college, and uh, I don't know. I went and did an art class with my mother a few weeks ago, so I might start getting back into art. I missed it. I spent time redoing the whole house. I stripped all the woodwork in the house and repainted it one time. So
Okay,
you
okay.
never know what I'll do.
The early nester left the nest. You're trying to go ahead and revamp a little bit, huh?
Maybe.
I love it. I love it. So, and that's a beautiful thing. Okay, let's talk about any love interest. Anything going on?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I've been engaged for 8 years.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Got your boo. Okay. Okay. Cool. 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 Gotcha. So, all right. Let's move into. So, Robert, man, what about yourself, man? And this, I'm very interested to hear this because the one thing about Robert, he actually has a funny side to him, but he's
Mhm.
serious at the same time. He's not serious. He looks all he got a serious face and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So when I watch, that's a good sidebar. That's why I didn't say nothing to the guy when he first came to Castle Falls because this guy was locked in. Like he was
Yeah.
all the way locked in. I'm like, oh, okay, who is this? Oh, that's Damien. Okay, let me go ahead. You know what? I can respect people's method. That must be his method. Let me not leave it. But actually, he was kind of chilling, you know what I'm saying? But at the time, I ain't know that. Locked in. Like, okay, I'm gonna stay locked in myself. It's COVID. He may not want to buy in this space, and it's all that going on. But anywho, this is my man Robert. I'm interested to hear this, man, because this man sounds like he got many talents, but I like to hear it.
For me, I always make jokes because I don't like watching horror films. I don't like watching violence. People they're always like, you're one of the nicest guys I meet. I don't know why I meet bad guys that are so nice. I like to watch like those little animal videos on the Dodo on YouTube and things like
Yeah.
this.
Okay. Animal
That
Planet.
it's last night I got our neighbors have a dog, and we have these play dates with the dog and take care of the dog, and so we did that last night. But I have a wife, and my wife occupies 100% of my time besides my acting. She's my boss, and I have, she wants to do something, we do it. But she's in the business as well, and so like I
Mhm.
said, she's the one who brought me to that acting class at the beginning. We're 100% in. So like Misty was saying, it never ends.
Mhm.
When you
Mhm.
get to a certain level and you're working, there's always something on my desk to learn or to work
True.
on. And, that's been one of the toughest things, has been explaining that to my family. I've missed a lot of events and missed a lot of parties and things and holidays because I've been doing it now 20 years. And I just am 100% in. This is my life. This is what I
Yes.
do. There's no stopping me. I plan on doing this for the rest of my life. I love
Yes.
it.
Yes.
That's my passion is acting. So if I'm not acting, I'm reading a book on acting, or like I said, I'm working on my craft in some way to get better. So it's not a job for me. It's just something that I love to do. So there's really no other hobbies. I mean, for me, I work out. I mean, I work out 5 days a week. You know, I'm up in the morning. I do about 3.5 hours for those times. There's cardio, there's weights, things like this. Because, like you said, you know, there's younger guys. I mean, in the Lifetime film I was in, the guy was my partner. He was 26. You know, good looking guy, and he worked out. He played for Alabama as well. Played football for Alabama. So, you know, and you Alabama guys can really sing too, because E. Gray, you have one heck of a voice. You know, you can sing and he could sing. And I was like, what is going on at Alabama? They're teaching these guys musical lessons too. So, you know, for me, I just work on my craft, and there's not a lot of downtime for what it is I do. It's just it's really just a lot of work, and then my wife. So, you know, it's pretty much it.
I think we lost Eric.
Yeah, I don't know where he went.
Where are you from, Robert?
Me, I grew up in Connecticut, but I have an apartment in New York too, in New York City. I've been there 20 years on the Upper West Side, and then I live in Alabama now as well. So
Nice.
right now I'm in Alabama. I came down south. My wife's family is originally from Alabama, so we've been coming down here a number of years. And after we filmed basically Castle Falls, we came down here I came down here to shoot from New York, and then we just decided to stay after that. And so I've been here now a couple of years, and getting a lot of work down here too. So, you know, this is going to be considered my home base now. You know, I
Awesome.
always keep my apartment in New York, you know,
But no longer sleeping on the floor.
no longer sleeping on the floor. Yes. Yeah. Thank God. You know, those were the days. Yeah.
Well, guys,
I think there were mice
go
and
ahead.
rats running across me as well.
Exactly.
I love it. I love it. Guys, I had to step out for a hot second and give you guys a moment to go ahead and finish up doing what you're doing. You know, I am here. So it's because you said that you was talking about, you know, different books and things of that nature. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna add this in here real quick for my viewers, man. So, like you said, there's always things to learn, you know, and for
Mhm.
me, it really doesn't turn off. Even if I'm not doing acting, like I started these vocal classes and things of that nature because I want to do, you know, get into the arts of that singing and whatnot and explore that skill set. But I'm like, it's gonna be great for my stage play. It's gonna be great for me projecting my voice, and, you know, things of that nature. So it still always goes right back to that because, like I said, man, it's just something that I didn't think it would be anything that I can find that would be that you can come close to matching the love and the dedication that I had towards my athletics and football. And this is my baby. This is it, you know. So, you know, I got a couple books that even in my off time. I've read it before, but I'm starting to read it again. And maybe kind of written look backwards here. It's called basically called the ultimate scene and monologues towards books. I'm not a big person on monologues or better at scenes of Shakespeare and things, but
Mhm.
because it is challenging to me and I don't necessarily like, oh yeah, I want to do that. I force myself to kind of, you know, see what I can learn and what I can groom and pull out of it. Another one, guys, that I read this years and years ago when I first got into acting, when I was before I even got into training to be able to understand as much as I could what was it about. This is another one, Self-Management for Actors. It's another great book here, guys, as well. Another one, actor Bunny Gillespie. So if you guys haven't checked that out, man, by Bunny Gillespie, and it's like Self-Management for Actors, man. It's a great book. It breaks down from demo reel, self-tape, how to go about picking an agent, knowing how to prepare for characters. I mean, it just got so much wealth of knowledge, man, that what I do for my pastime, you know. And I think another thing that it's a funny thing, and I think all you guys can attest to, and even as a talent agent, I think you can attest to this, where I have a hard time watching any film now, anything on TV, whatever it may be, and not be like, huh, let's see what this character is, where they started from, man, how did they play? They did that one, okay. And I'll go look at other films that they played. I'm like, oh wow, they are very diverse. They really dive in. This character's totally different than this character they played. Like, you know, trying to see where they evoke these emotions at, you know, small different things. And like some simple as for me, I'm outside on the patio, I'm enjoying myself studying, of course, and lady like, oh my God, you can study again? Yes, I got to. preparing for the stage play is not until October. But either way, just something small as me being able to go through a process of rehearsing and actually get emotional and shed tears. I was like, "Oh, hey, you gotta hit, you gotta see this. Look at this. Look." You know, I have that is a for me that's a struggle. I don't know why. It's not that I can't feel the emotions, but I'm not a crier when I get emotional necessarily. So it's like it's a challenging. It's a tough one. But I love the walls that acting it forces you to break down within yourself. You know, that masculinity, all the testosterone. I get all that up out of there. Come on, there's a time and place. You got to know how to break that down. You know what I'm saying? You got me, Robert. And it makes it, and it really liberates you, and I guess kind of frees you up a lot. You know, so I was saying all this to say, like, you know, even in your past time, how you guys spoke about it, that it's still kind of center around your life. And I like I said, watching the film is just never the same anymore. You know, you never can just watch it. No, okay, I'm trying to see how this going or whatever. You know, the build up, how they even built up this character, and because we all know when you're filming a scene or a movie, whatever, it's never done in chronological order. You know, you may have the climax may be in the middle on day 10, and you may not feel in the beginning to day 16, but you still have to be able to be in the moment. So about time the audience watch it, they can't tell the difference. They just see the climax, the process going from top to finish and all that great, hitting the climax. So that's a beautiful thing, which is also another level of skill set. But yeah, so how you check it out. So for Misty, for you, do you even, when you watch film, when you get a chance to watch some TV or whatever, do you as a talent, how do you view it as a talent? That's one of the questions I have for you. How do you view it as a talent?
So I try really hard not to.
I know. Doesn't work too
I
good.
spend a lot of time trying to just enjoy the show. But
Yes.
funny enough, this week, earlier this week, or maybe it was the last weekend, my lovely fiance had the Kirk Warner show, the movie that was recently done.
Yes.
And he goes,
Yes.
wow, this was really well cast. And I go, no, it wasn't.
Oh,
He's like, what do you mean? They did a great job. I go, none of my talent is in there.
Yeah.
They did not cast it well.
Yo, I feel you. I like the competitive nature. I love it. You love it, And I was watching that. I watched that a couple of weeks back, a couple of months back actually. Because crazy, oddly enough, the guy who played Isaac Bruce was one of my former teammates, Simeon Castile. Yeah, I'm like, wait,
Wow.
what? Because he told me about it and everything, and we was talking. He was like, yeah, man. I said, so are you gonna go with it, man? I mean, come on, like you up and got this opportunity out of nowhere like this. I don't know. And of course, we went into it. I'm like, dude, if you don't stop this and quit playing with this, go ahead and do this. You know what I'm saying? Because his brother did the same thing a few years ago. Caleb Castile, who is now in NCIS, Los Angeles. Booming and doing this thing. So, yeah, it's a great opportunity, man. And like I said, y'all saying where I'm like, man, I'd like to be in that one. That would have been nice, though. But like I said, man, everything happens for a reason. Everything. But anyway, I'm gonna leave you guys, man, as we sign out. I want to leave you guys with a few last words for you guys to give us to send us out. Nothing hearing my voice and everything. So I'm gonna allow you guys to have the table for any last words for our audience. Once again, guys, don't forget, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, go follow everyone here on that platform, all that great stuff. So for either one of you guys, go give us the last few words, and then we'll end it up.
Robert, I'll let you do it.
Okay. Well, I always tell people to find their passion. It's why I get up every day. Lucky that I had my grandmother, and she always told me to follow my heart and follow my dreams and follow my passion. It's never too late to do that. You got to find what you love and do what you love, no matter what that is. And I just say, go for it. I always tell children, I say, they always tell kids in school, what are you going to be when you grow up? And, what are you going to do? And I always tell kids, what's in your heart, do what you love. Because that's the only thing that gets you up in the morning. And to me, that's why I do what I do. It gets me up in the morning and it gets me going fast. And, so I'd say find your passion.
I love it, man. That's it. Find your passion. And you know what? I ain't gonna add nothing else to it. That's what it is, guys. Find your passion. Go for it. Don't care what nobody else say. If you know it's for you, it is for you, man. Signing off one last time, guys. Advantage Talent Agency CEO, owner Misty Griggs, and actor, the method actor Robert Berlin. Guys, we out of here. Thank you for tuning in once again. E36 Unfiltered, baby. We out.
Thank you, Eric.
36 Unfiltered, aka the Unfiltered Room with Mr. E. Gray. Introducing all the latest names and the latest news. Hottest take, he the new face, yeah, the new sound, but keep it old school and raw